Hi Linda, Linda Stillman.
Hi Gwennalee, thank you so much for organizing this wonderful show. I'm so pleased to be part of Salon Zürcher. I collaborate with nature. Instead of conventional art supplies, I use natural materials like leaves and flowers. Whether I'm in my home upstate or in Central Park, I collect leaves and dry them for my collages. Lately, I've been using black squares as a metaphor for climate change and the terrible state of our world. I interact with the grid and the biomorphic shapes of nature. This piece, Tree, is fragments of Japanese maple leaves collaged showing how the leaves change over the seasons, with the first column painted with acrylics to show how the colors, if they change, what they look like to begin with.
In my ongoing field notes series, small relief paintings in box-shaped formats, they resemble excavated site samples of former domestic habitation. Working with both sculpture and painting offers an ambiguous nature, an abstract format that hovers between abstraction and realism. Hand-formed elements made from paper mache are combined with found objects, real actual cars, cans, and so on, domestic rubble. And so the viewer becomes an excavator, exploring the interaction of civilization and nature's process of renewal.
So this is Linda Schrank. Hi Linda.
These are two of my paintings that I've done in the past year and a half or so, and they're typical of me, that rounding the corner, they generally have to do with this kind of energy. And also the colors, pretty much what I've been using. You know, it always changes, but this is typical of my work.
Alice, Attie. Hi Alice.
Hi, this work that engages my continued fascination with the link between writing and drawing. It also addresses my ongoing interest in repetition. That is, in this case, the repetition of the words, take care of yourself, again and again and again, until they become so abstracted that they disappear from legibility. So this embraces what Michel Foucault, whose writing inspired the work, called the transformative. It's a profound notion. There are infinite moments in our lives, infinite entry points, but they're always in transformation. And this is what I probe, and this is what I hope to understand through my work.
Thank you so much. Anne Bascove. Hi Anne.
For years, I drew and painted New York City's bridges, those grand monuments of steel and stone that cross the sky. But I wanted to capture the exhilaration of the act of crossing. I began to recreate these structures, not as they appeared, but as they felt, charged with movement, layered with history. Taking photographs, integrating them with drawing, gouache, and collage, I reimagined them, fractured and reformed, with lines breaking beyond borders and perspectives tilting. My bridges became energized reflections of New York City, spirited, dynamic, and perpetually reinventing itself. Just like the city they span, they refuse to stand still, inviting us to see them anew with each passing glance.
Cyrilla Mozenter. Hi Cyrilla.
Hi. I want to make work that poses questions rather than makes statements. As you can see here, my questioning attitude is not whispered, instead conveyed with intensity and force. It's read. My favorite word these days, maybe always, is ardor.
Katherine Powers. Hi Katherine.
Perception, light, layers, translucency, a combination of materials,
and techniques, collage, a little bit of strange, and a little bit of mystery.
Katayoun, Rouhi, Katayoun, welcome to New York. Katayoun lives and works in Paris.
Since a long time, I work around the memory. In my work, I try to evoke the apparent and the hidden of memory. For the apparent side, I painted symbols, and for the hidden side, I write poetry. Here, this exhibition is about the memory of the old city of Orient. The title is Sui Generis. Latin term means something exists for itself, and here the cities exist for themselves, despite humanity and history, and choose these cities with whom I feel deep empathy and love.
Hi, Debra. Debra Salomon.
Hi. So I am fascinated by the nature of objects and real and imagined space. I keep a personal pantry full of attributes like weight, skin, fragrance, texture, form, gathered over years of looking at nature in the city. In my work, here and there trade places, and boundaries are firm but overlapping. A conversation in different languages, or the pavement between the curves of uptown and downtown, where one place becomes another. In my view, the world is formed by a type of constructive entropy in which everything is tending towards chaos, but occasionally comes together in a particular form. I grab the objects I make when they surprise me, and I paint them.
Xanda McCagg showing this great big painting, abstract painting. Hi.
If I could pick one word to describe my work, it would be causality. It's about cause and effect and relationships. I use abstraction to express my observations of humans and things in nature. And this particular body of work, I'm thinking a lot about what's going on in the world and people who are being displaced or torn apart or pushed together. And the fine line between reaching and holding and having and not having. And they're all, I primarily work with oil and canvas and graphite.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And we are ending our walkthrough, our tour with Andrea Lilienthal. Andrea.
Growing up in the outdoors in California, I was surrounded year-round by abundant examples of nature. This early exposure, particularly to many forms of plant life, served as inspiration for much of my art. Over the years, my sculpture has incorporated a range of natural materials, including pussy willows, bamboo, cattails, prairie grasses, straw, black-eyed peas, beans, tree stumps, and saplings. I try to approach these materials in new ways to evoke novel sensations, giving them entirely new visual identities outside of their original context. Highlighting their singular qualities with the addition of paint, tape, wire, or colored cord, I transform them, giving them a new life in an art context. Here, black paint and accents of primary color help the transformation. Samaras is the title of this installation. The fruit seeds of northern maple trees are called samaras. Every spring, giving nooses of seeds from the tree branches, carrying them far and wide to pollinate new trees. And every season, they carpet our sidewalks, parks, and pathways. I was drawn to Samar's sharply defined double-winged silhouettes and their combination of hardiness and fragility. Their two-winged construction allows them to defy gravity, drifting freely with the wind across long distances.
This is the part 2 edition of Salon Zürcher 100 Women of Spirit.